everybody, and welcome back to Tattoo Homewreckers, a podcast where we talk about tattoos, life, and everything in between. My name is Callista, and this right here is...
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Yes, good morning.
My name is Yes, good morning. That was my first sip of coffee.
First sip. Nice, on camera too.
Yes. It's currently 7:30 in the morning, which might not sound early to you guys, but... well, we have big news here in a second. I didn't get to sleep till after 1. So I am feeling a little bit rough and tumble. So if you watch this on YouTube, yes, we're wearing the same hoodie.
Yes.
This is technically Cabooses' hoodie because him and Callie match all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I stole it because it's really comfortable.
And yes, we are both a little bit sick and still, trying to wake up. As you said, you didn't go to sleep until 1. The day previously, I couldn't go to sleep until 4 in the morning. But if you're curious...
Why we look like this.
Yeah, if you're curious why we look like this is what 2 business owners look like. Holy shit. Big news. We opened up our own fucking shop.
Yeah, we did.
In under 2 months.
Yes.
That was so fucking rough. And it's not just like opening, but it's also renovating. There was so much to do with the space. We still technically have a lot to do today. Obviously, it's still like an ongoing project. But we've officially left our last studio, and now we're on our own.
Now we're unemployed.
Yes, and I don't know about you, but it feels really good. Little periods of time, just like the unemployment time, where I'm like, oh god, you know how like much of our time we spend not unemployed.
Yeah, that's what I told Caboose because he was doing something in the kitchen, and I was like, hey, thanks, like really appreciate that. I was like, I'm really tired today. And, he spent all day yesterday getting tattooed. Yep. Like, all day. Like, a very long session.
Also beat.
Yeah. And so I was like, well, I didn't spend all day getting tattooed. And so, like, I should be that tired. And he's like, well, you quit your job, so.
Yeah. And it was very, quitting studios, if you are a tattoo apprentice out there, or if you're a tattoo artist out there, you know damn well that it is a fucking thing. Emotionally, it's really fucking hard. And for the most part, like... I know it's crazy to people outside the tattoo industry, but a 2-week notice really isn't a thing.
It just isn't. Here's the thing. If you try a 2-week notice, you'll usually get sacked right on the spot.
Yes, usually.
Or you end up with, like, studios or, like, owners sabotaging you, creating problems. And at the very, very, like, nice end of it, it is just... super awkward for like the last couple weeks you're there. It's
everyone's
really
on
shitty.
Edge.
Yeah.
Because not only that, but they're also worried a lot of the times that artists are gonna go ahead and take advantage of like their supplies and stuff like that. So,
yeah, they're afraid that artists are gonna steal their shit, or like I've had it where I left a shop and then they try to steal my stuff.
Vice versa, where it's
because I always come like I have my own printer and I come with all of that, and they're like, that was ours, and I'm like, no, I physically brought it in.
Watching other tattoo artists move too, like I had a situation where this was one of the first shops that I had worked at. One of the artists recently moved in, and she was unpacking her stuff, and she realized that the people that she worked for previously had put like old food in her Saniderm bandages. And she's like, great, I can't fucking use this anymore. Like, that's disgusting, and that's not fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and so it's just shit like that. And I don't know, it's... someone told me when I said that I felt like pretty guilty. Someone had told me that like, dude, a 2-week notice is also just a courtesy. It's not actually like a thing, especially in the tattoo industry. And I was like, yeah, that's so valid. So not only emotionally has it been draining, but like also starting up a new shop, like it's like having a baby.
I didn't even think about that. If you think about it like that, the 2-week notice is a courtesy.
It is, yeah.
So the company does not offer you a 2-week notice. Like when you get fired, you just get fired.
Yeah.
And when you quit, you're basically firing the company. So why is that so like vastly different? Where it's like, hey, I need to let you know that I'm going to leave, but you can fire me at any point for whatever fucking reason you want.
Yeah, without notice.
And you don't give me notice.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If they do give notice, it's courtesy. It's not like, it's definitely not something that is required. And
I'm saying no one's getting notice for getting fired.
For sure. Well, I feel like a termination thing, especially in the tattoo world, again, it's right then and there. Maybe for corporate companies, but also I've never worked for like a big corporate.
Oh no, they'll walk you out. Like at Tesla, when people get fired,
they just
security walks you out right there. So that I think that's where my issue lies. Is like, wait, I'm firing you as my employer.
Yes.
But I'm expected to give you a 2-week notice. But if you fire me
For sure.
for the same shit that I'm doing to you,
Well, that's the thing. It's a whole culture-based thing that like America's built in, that your employer, you have to owe everything to your employer.
oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of it being a dual relationship where it's like, I have skills that you are paying me for, and you have a company that I want to work for. This is a dual thing. It's supposed to be symbiotic and an equal thing. I think, especially with like having COVID happen and people realizing that the 5-day work week that is 8-hour days is so just not, it's not right, as far as like the portioning of, I don't know, work life and fun balance. It's not conducive to a wholesome life. And with the rise of COVID, like people are starting to realize that like, no, I don't want my employers to take advantage of me either. You know what I mean?
Because the entire system is built, like capitalism is purely built on having everyone always working so they can consume. And so it's the opposite of that is taking the time off.
Yes.
And so like companies don't want that because then they don't make money. It's why we would get in trouble for taking time off when we're commission based. And I'm like, well, if you notice, I fluffed my books like before I left. So I worked extra hard.
Yep.
I worked 6-day work weeks. I earned extra money so that way you as a company could save that. And then when I come back, I'm going to do the same thing so that way you can recoup any possible losses.
Yeah.
Like, but instead they're like, no, I just want you to operate at that level of burnout all the time so you can make me the max amount of money.
And it's so like, it is unrealistic, especially in our career where like I've always said that I have to be really, really hyper vigilant about where my creative battery lies. Because the risk of my creative battery being completely depleted means that when a piece that comes in that I was excited about, or I was like, oh, this is going to recharge my creative battery, I don't even have any gas left in the tank for anymore. And so that's when, like now, I mean, when I first started, I would definitely just try my best to push through. But now it's nice to be able to have a real conversation with my clients and be like, hey, listen, I'm so sorry. I'm on burnout. Today's not the day for you to get tattooed. Again, I really, really apologize. I was so looking forward to it. But as far as like, again, moving the cogs and capitalism, I don't know, they try to hardwire you into believing that you can just push through. But that burnout, like honestly, our job is so lined up with our mental health and how we're doing that if we're in a tough space mentally, it will show in your tattoos. 100%.
Oh, absolutely.
100%. So yeah, no, it's
when it shows in like your client care.
Yeah.
Because I think that for me is like what really sucks is like I guess I'm not gonna complain about the past. I'm gonna more so like look towards the future of like I'm looking forward to being in a space where I can just have honest conversations with people.
Yeah.
Where I don't feel like I have to like censor what I'm saying because people like around me are looking for like problems.
Yes.
Or like at this point, if you leave me a shitty review because I had a discussion about how trans people have rights and deserve rights,
100%.
I will gladly combat that fucking like shitty review and be like, thank you. You were not meant to be in my chair. And I still stand by the fact that your child could be trans. And that's fucked that you're pissed off at me about it. But also, don't engage in this conversation with me.
Oh, yeah. Don't dig further.
Yeah. Like, because I will not have a conversation with you if you don't want to have a conversation.
Yeah.
But now I have like a space where it's like, hey, look, like I personally would have liked to have had a further discussion with that client. You'd be like, hi, let's talk more. Like, why did it take this long? What's going on here? Why did you feel the need to leave me a shitty review? Because of my beliefs and, quite frankly, science. Trans people are people. Get over it.
Period.
But it's like now it's cultivating a space in which I am free to be myself and clients are free to be themselves, which is what I'm so excited about is like, we've talked about this, like having everything that makes me a neurodivergent individual feel comfortable. So that means weighted blankets. That means stuffies. Like I want stuffed animals there. That was your idea. And then I was like, man, I didn't realize how much it comforts me to see other people with stuffed animals. Like I myself am not a stuffed animal person. I'm a blanket person. I don't have a blankie, by the way. I have like
A multitude.
a multitude because
Many. It's become a thing. They're multiplying. It's like they're all mating and they're starting to multiply in the house, which is great because now we have a bunch of blankets.
yeah, we have really nice blankets. Don't buy an unhide blanket unless you want to have a blanket addiction.
Well, not just a blanket addiction because then it bleeds out into the rest of your
they
life.
have
You've got
dog
hoodies.
beds. Oh yeah,
We've got dog beds.
I have a poncho.
You've got a poncho, and it's a stunning, amazing poncho, and the dog bed is comfortable.
Except that it's white, and so I do look a little bit KKK-ish in it, and it's a
I
little
did
bit
say
upsetting.
that. I
Yeah.
did say that. Yes.
Yeah, I look somewhere like I'm trying to either be like a fluffy, like comfy.
You guys need to come out with a not white one, please.
Yeah, well, they do, but it's like a icky, gross pink that looks like a bad,
like a pale pink or like
yeah, but it looks like bad foundation.
that kind of pink.
As you guys are like, y'all, we did not listen to this episode for an unhide poncho review.
Okay, how many times have we talked about unhide though? These people are used to it anyways. They're probably like, oh, it's about time that they started talking about unhide again. It's been a few episodes and they haven't mentioned it. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to a space where I can be honest politically as well. Because I mean, personally, like, we're all people, period. That's just a statement. That's a fact. We all have opinions. I would love a space where I could just be honest about my opinions and know that, like, we're going to back each other up. You know, know that, like, okay, if our
Well, I
clients
mean,
don't
if either one of us is out of line, the other person's going to very quickly be like, too far.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's
We
true.
should have-
We do keep each other in check a lot, but
Yeah.
that's the thing is, like, our feelings around, I don't know, trans people matter or Black Lives Matter or we're very much pro-choice. Our feelings around that matters just as much as our clients' feelings around it matter. And so it's hard to, like, only give a platform to the clients and not your artists.
Yeah, and
you know?
and I think that's the issue is that you are getting tattooed by a person. So
Yeah, a lot of people
it's a
forget.
well, but I think that it's also our industry's fault.
Yeah,
It is a disservice. Like, if I were to go and get a tattoo and then find out that this person, I mean, think about it. We do it with clothing. Like, we just stopped a clothing company because they posted up a bunch
Something
of
that's
fucking transphobic shit.
transphobic, yeah.
And we were like, all right, cool. You won't get our money anymore. I would rather know on the front end what your beliefs are so I know what I'm supporting. And I feel like it's the same way with clients where it's like, I would rather my clients know this because how upsetting is it for that lady that now when she looks at that tattoo, she's like, oh, well, I fucking hate that bitch. She believes in trans lives.
Totally.
And like, yeah, that's fucked. If you can just put it out on the front end, then you're able to, and I'm not saying that like, hey, we need to live in an echo chamber. Everyone needs to agree with us. But it's that you should be able to represent yourself accurately instead of this like essentially corporate world of like every artist needs to like speak the same, act the same, all that shit.
Totally.
And we all need to like hold our personal opinions to ourselves. No, you're getting something done with a person. And like you always say, it's a group project.
It is.
So I'm like, I need to like you enough to be able to do my job well because I am very based off of like my happiness as an artist is based off the person I am tattooing.
Absolutely.
Like my dad used to explain it as like I'm an energy vampire and it's just, and now we know that like it's just that I have super strong mirror neurons and I will reflect back to you what you give me.
Yeah. And like the empathy is part of the, like, it's empathy, but also hypervigilance from our past of like knowing that like we are really big, like mood picker uppers.
Yeah.
But I don't know. One of the things that I had mentioned on our website was that like, yeah, tattooing is a two-way street. I think on the FAQs, one of the questions is, oh, why did my request get denied? You know, why did my concept get denied? And I just said tattooing is a two-way street. Like the client's consent matters just as much as the artist's consent for the project to be taken on. And like you said, I would much rather know on the front end of like who this person is before I spend money on them. And if you're one of those people who don't care, that's perfect. That's totally fine too. But I'm just, again, looking forward to just being honest and actually transparent and knowing that like I am off anybody's reins. It's just the two of us.
Yeah. And that like, if we want to take 2 weeks off of work, we can take 2 weeks off of work and
100%.
not have someone yelling at us because we know how to budget.
Oh, for sure.
So we will budget for ourselves.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And knowing that, like, you know, if shit hits the fan, like, we got each other. You know what I mean? Like, the communication is already worlds better. I mean, and it's been quite a journey. I mean, now that we're talking about communication, it has been so hard not to tell you guys.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure
Holy fuck.
now if you go back and listen to the last couple episodes, you'll be like, oh, here they're
Yes.
like mentioning
Home renovations. We're talking about our second home, which will be
Yes.
our new shop, Callie Lou's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not actually in the house. It is our other home that we've been
Yeah.
doing renovations on for a while now.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
okay. So it is currently, excuse me, I almost burped. October 8th.
Yeah.
We signed the lease September 15th.
Damn.
So it's just been about 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We did have 4 days in Halloween Horror Nights. So that kind of like set us back a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we'll get our inspection this week and be open to tattoo.
Yep.
But otherwise, like, it's me. So our inspection will go well because, like, the health department.
You guys should see this
I
beautiful
love
binder.
the health department. I am not one of the. I don't like how much they charge here for what they're doing, but
Expensive.
previously when I taught bloodborne pathogen infection control, we worked with the health department, and that was something that I very much enjoyed. Was like the safety side of it and like understanding the regulations. So I've been doing more so the back end of things. I don't know that we've talked about this on the podcast so
I don't
much.
think so, no.
But like one of the first like big discussions we had, are you cool with me sharing this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was the hard part about like, I guess our dynamic. It's
Mhm.
an amazing dynamic, but also like egos get involved and like feelings get involved.
Because we're human.
Because we're human. And so I tend to do the back end of things
Mhm.
or have like the overall like scheme, and which now
Mm-hmm.
is much better for me because I have friends like Cole was talking about it, like how they can't see what I can see, and like you say the same thing where like I
Absolutely.
can't picture. Whereas like when we walked into our space, I was like, okay, this wall is painted like this, and we've got like angles, and then we'll do a circle here, and then we'll build out this unit, and
This
like
is where the closet's going to go, and then this is where
Yeah.
these cabinets are going to
and
go.
like
Yeah.
we have to work within the existing building. So I was like, well, we have 2 sinks because it was a like salon before, but we don't need both sinks, and they look really weird, and I just don't like the aesthetic.
Mhm.
So we've installed, we being Caboose and I,
Mhm.
mostly Caboose because he's been doing a lot of building. Because if you guys have been with us before, you know that I am the like
You're the
what is it, interior designer? Is that what they're called?
yeah, you're the interior designer. You do all the big picture
Yeah.
stuff. All the like basically planning out like
Yeah.
literally everything as far as where everything goes and how every base design is going to go.
Yeah, the base design of
Yeah.
it.
Uh-huh.
And then Caboose comes in and builds. I help him build. She helps him build.
Mhm.
They help me with like the grand scheme. Like I'll ask questions and stuff.
Yeah.
And then Callie comes in and like does all the finishing touches to make it look really pretty.
Mhm.
And so like we've been doing that with like the business side of it. So I've done a lot of the back end stuff.
Yes. Mhm.
And then struggled heavily with the website because it's fucking horrible. And then Callie like designed shirts and did our social media and did all the stuff that's like
Right.
that makes it attractive and is like our fucking FAQs are hilarious.
Dude, and
I got to hear them for the first time last night.
You crushed it though on the website because like it was so nice to, I don't know, again the dynamic like really works out because you built the base of our website and then I came in and just like literally just added and judged a few things up and
Yeah.
then it was like fucking perfect. But it is hard because when you're doing the back end of stuff, I feel so bad. I feel
Yeah.
so useless in those moments, especially with the building. Like I went through a whole span of emotions in like a week. And that's the thing too about opening a shop in such a limited time frame.
Yeah.
You have to emotionally process quick too. That is also on a schedule. So we had, I think the last episode of our after hours, we talked about like how I've been feeling, how like uncomfortable it is for me to be the like quote unquote like weakest person on the project, you know?
Mhm.
And it has been hard, but like after this past week, I feel like a curse has been lifted because I convinced myself that I was just the worst human being on earth and you didn't want to do this with me. And like that, like I was so worried that you were thinking that this was a terrible decision to do this with me because like I just don't know how to do a lot of the building stuff and I lack the confidence because I haven't done it often enough.
Yeah.
But a curse has been lifted and it's one of those things where it's like, okay, so I could either focus on feeling bad or I always say, turn your guilt into action.
Yes. That's like,
Go into
if
full
there's
swing.
a fucking life motto for us, it's
Yeah.
like, hey, turn that shitty feeling
Into action.
into action.
100%.
And then you stop feeling shitty.
Yeah, because then it's like, okay, so I can't help with the building right now. There's not a lot for me to do. Then I'm going to work on the website. I'll polish that
Yep.
up. And then I'm going to work on the Instagram. And then I'll get the FAQs up. And then I'll, all of this
Yep.
stuff. Oh my gosh. But what were you going to say? I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
Derailed.
Yeah, so basically, the hard part there is that because I'm the behind the scenes person and I'm not the front face a lot, which is typically how I like it, honestly. It's that whole, like, I want to be vice president. I don't want to
Yes.
be president. I always want to be, like, the second person. Like, I'm much happier in second place on a podium than I am in first place.
Right.
But it does suck sometimes because then I'm like, dude, you don't get, like, no one's looking at the overall design of the studio to be like, oh, I appreciate your use of this space. I appreciate that you could envision that you needed a supply closet. And so you've built one out there. Instead, they'll be like, fuck yes, Caboose for building, which absolutely, fuck yes, Caboose for building.
100%.
But the initial idea oftentimes does not get, like, any sort of credit. So you kind of walk around feeling, like, invisible.
Yeah.
Which is very much different now because I do have, like, a group of friends. And honestly, like, leaving the shop that I just left, the amount of messages that I got from
my
the people I
gosh.
work with that were like, thank you for all of the unrecognized labor you put in.
Amazing.
And then from other people, like from clients that were like, honestly, I was surprised because of the amount of time and effort and energy you put into that place. Like all the free shit you did,
Yeah.
remodeling, all of that just for free on your own time. I'm amazed you left. So it's been really healing for me to see that, to be like, oh, wow, people actually do recognize that.
And appreciate it.
Yeah, and appreciate it.
Yeah.
I don't know why the appreciation doesn't make sense to me, but the recognition, I'm like, whatever.
We'll
that's
dig
cool.
in that probably later. We'll figure that out. We're going to put a pin on that for now because we've got a ton of shit to do. But I'm definitely going to make you dig into that later.
That'll be another episode of like, hey, why can you not handle appreciation? But just that made me feel better because I was like, dude, this sucks. Like, I'm doing all this work and no one's going to look and be like, wow, look at this checklist. So that way when the inspection come in, you just hand them a checklist, which was like an idea I had in South Carolina, where it's like, hey, this is what we do. We just create a checklist. I think it was technically my mom's idea originally. I think she like said it and then started it and then didn't because she obviously has like ADHD. So
There you go. Classic.
Yeah.
The classic tale.
Unpacking that where I'm like, oh, wow, the amount of projects I had to like finish. That
Totally.
makes sense why I'm also not a good starter.
Not a good starter.
Yeah, I don't like starting a project.
You do. Okay, well, if it makes you feel any better, you make it look like you are really good at it. So
Oh, thanks. I hate
you're
it.
welcome.
Every
Yeah.
single time right before I start a project, I'm like, oh, what if this turns out terrible? It's terrifying.
It's also healing for me to hear that you and Caboose were working on the sink and you, he turned to you and he was like, oh, dude, I'm fucking scared. And you were like, me too. That was so healing for me because...
Yeah, because we've never cut out sinks into butcher block.
Straight up.
I'm just like, look, this is what I'm envisioning.
Yeah.
Let's figure out how to make this happen.
And how fucking impressive is that? It is. I don't know. As someone who grew up in a place where like DIY things were not a thing, like I literally did not grow up seeing my dad hold a drill. I can't think of the last time I've seen
I
him.
think we were just talking about this, about how you learned how to play.
How to play piano before I learned how to ride a bike.
And I had power tools in my
Yeah.
hands before I had makeup in my hands.
Totally.
So, like, for me, it's, like, a really weird thing. It's also why every time you say DIY, I just laugh because I'm like, it's not do it yourself,
like construction.
bitch.
Yeah, it's like...
It's not do it yourself.
Yeah.
Who was going to do it for you?
Yeah,
You
totally.
better just fucking figure it out.
Totally. Well, I mean, it's beautiful because I feel like, I don't know, I definitely grew up very femme presenting and was forced to grow up very femme presenting. But now I'm in a stage of my adulthood where like I can indulge in, oh, fuck, we forgot what your gender feels like today. We'll do that in a second. But now I'm finally like growing into adulthood, realizing that my, gender is whatever I want it to be. And for right now, yes, I identify she, her. But I really enjoy being able to, I don't know, what are my wardrobe choices? We call it teenage skater boy.
Yes.
Is one of my other favorite like looks that I present.
Yeah.
So it's either teenage skater boy, prom queen, or
Flight attendant.
flight attendant.
Yeah.
Those are my 3 looks. So, and I'm okay with that. I love that. But yeah, growing up very femme presenting, it's like intimidating going into these things, but so healing to hear you guys be like, yeah, I'm scared to do this.
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's normal to be scared.
It's
no matter how much experience you have.
always
that's normal.
intimidating. I try to explain
Yes.
that to clients too. Like, I have been tattooing for this month will be 14 years.
Oh my God.
It is nerve-wracking every single time. When you guys are like, oh, why is she so quiet when she first starts? Dude, every single time you're going into it being like, I don't know, are they going to sit well? Is their skin going to react shitty? Are they like on antibiotics? It's going to fuck up the whole tattoo. Are they in a good place that like they'll be able to like sit well enough for me to do this job?
Right.
Are they in a good place emotionally so that way they're not over there making weird noises or clicking or like moving and fidgeting, and then that's going to pull me completely out of the game because she's going to hate this reference. Like tattooing people is a little bit like sex, that if they're just being weird, it's going to pull your head out of it. You're not going to fucking be present in that moment because they're just over there going just randomly with their mouth. There's nothing in your fucking mouth. What are you doing?
It is interesting.
And
yes.
that's the thing, is that every single time you do a tattoo, it's a little bit nerve-wracking because you're like, hey, I don't know how this is going to go.
Yep.
And you can have tattooed that person a whole bunch of times, and it's the same thing. Every time the very first second that needle hits the skin, you pull that very first line, and you'll notice, now you guys maybe didn't notice before, but you'll notice now that your artist will pull like a pretty short line, wipe it away to look to be like, how's my depth? How's the quality of my line? How's all of that?
Is the stencil sinking in?
Yes. Oh my fucking God. That's the thing. You don't know. Is the stencil going to wipe away? Because like the pH balance of their skin is
It's
such that like it won't stain the skin, because it doesn't actually like sit on top. It like stains the actual skin. And so when you put it on, if their pH balance is slightly off from like that range that it needs to be in for the stain to actually work, you will just wipe your whole ass stencil off.
Totally. And it's not their fault that their skin does that, and it's not your fault either, but it is something to think about.
Because then, like, just like at your job, if every time you tried to like type a fucking document, Word keeps crashing, you would get frustrated.
Oh, yeah.
But then with us, we're like, fuck, I can't get frustrated at this. Or if I am frustrated, I have to like internalize it. So it's the same thing with all projects, that like every time you do it, you're like, oh, fuck, this is a bit nervy. But you just get to a point where like, well, fuck it. If I make a mistake, I make a mistake. Totally. I'll fucking figure out how to fix it. And that's what like Caboose and I talked about when we were like, how do we cut the sinkholes in the butcher block? Because it's $300 butcher block. So if we make a mistake,
it's a costly mistake. It is,
And both him and I were just, and it was really healing for us because he typically won't admit that he's like scared about a project. And I am like, y'all, therapy on that man.
Iconic.
So good. He's like expressing feelings. He's expressing needs. It's so good. And so for me to hear him say that, because I will very quickly be like, no, I'm scared. This is scary. And for him to say that too. And I was like, hey, and then even after that, I was like, doesn't it feel better to say that, to like just be able to acknowledge out loud that like, we both don't know what we're doing.
This feeling exists, and we're both sitting in it.
And we're both here. So, like, no one's going to get mad if it gets messed up. And just FYI, so far, doing great. We got to do a little edging on it. But otherwise, looks fucking dope.
That's what she said. I don't know why, but when you said, isn't it great to acknowledge this feeling? And you know how everyone's like, acknowledge an elephant in the room? I just thought of the fear bear. Not a Care Bear, but a fear bear. And he's really cute. And he's really fat. And he's really big. And he's just kind of scared, but he's huge in the room. So it's like, isn't it great to say, like, we have a visitor, dude. It's great to
the fear bear's there. Poor guy.
He's okay. You just need to acknowledge him, and then he'll wag his little tail.
Yeah, I think that's,
tiny enough.
Well, I think that's it, is like, once you acknowledge it, it's the same thing with like, with us leaving, we've been able to have conversations with other like artists.
Yes.
And it's so nice hearing that, to be like, wait, so we were all in the same boat, but like ain't no one fucking talking. Like we would talk about stuff, but then we get in trouble for talking about it.
For gossiping.
For gossiping.
Which I just don't agree as a word anymore. It's not a word choice that I would ever use anymore, because that's just... We know the etymology of it. It is a fucking gendered-based word, and it's designed to, like, bring down
like people of the female gender. Like that's it.
Yeah.
It's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess besides that, we can go back to like we opened a shop. So
Yes.
we went and got our bank account in I think August.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we had y'all leasing a place, hot garbage. We had a run around with like one person, and then after literally 3 weeks of chasing them up, through a leasing company. So like fuck leasing companies.
Oh, totally.
They finally were like, oh no, they don't want a tattoo shop. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I asked you if that was a concern in the beginning.
Yep.
But then
We were very honest about it.
then it worked out great. We got to discover your credit score, which was amazing.
Thank you. I've been wanting to talk about this. And listen, at this point, it's not a humble brag. So
It's just a brag.
it's a brag.
Good.
I didn't think that like we would have a problem with this original place that we saw, which holy cow, you're right. It did set us back 3 weeks. So if you think about it, if we started with the place we ended up in,
Yeah.
we would have opened a month ago, which is crazy.
Yep.
Anyways, so technically it's not even been a couple months. Like it's been a month. at
Yeah,
our
we
place.
signed the lease on the 15th. It's now the 8th.
Yeah. But
I didn't realize that until I was like texting with someone last night. They like shot me a message of like,
Yes.
hey dude, like I don't need to know the drama, but I just need to know like how you're doing. And I was like, yeah, we just signed the lease. Cause they were like, oh, I imagine that you had this space for a while. Cause like, you know, the build out and stuff. And I'm like, nah, dude, we signed the lease on the 15th. And
Yep.
they're like, so you've been in there for like 2 weeks and you've done all that? That's fucking
Hustling.
nuts.
Operating on like maybe 4 hours of like actual sleep.
Oh dude, I can't wait to be able to like sleep properly.
Totally. I can't wait to
Not have 16-hour days.
I knew this would happen too, that like we would like open and then our bodies would finally relax, like our nervous systems would finally relax enough for us to get sick because we've just been on the precipice of sickness
Oh, yeah.
for over a month. But anyways,
Your credit score.
my credit
Very
score.
important.
So you had told me that starting a place, it is horrendous trying to find a place because we're tattoo artists and that there is a lot of prejudice against us. And I like
We had a little
acknowledge that.
squabble about that.
Yes, we did. And then like I was just like, okay, like, you know, hopefully we don't have a problem. And you're like, yeah, hopefully we don't. My credit score is really good. How's yours? And I said, oh, let's go and check. So we went and checked together because I haven't checked in a while. And my credit score is an 803.
This bitch. This bitch.
And I was like, oh my God. Like I was shocked. I didn't know that my credit score was that at all. I was kind of expecting like low 700s. And so I was like, we're not going to have a problem with this place. I have a credit score of 803. And they were like, no, period. It doesn't matter what your credit score is. It doesn't matter like how you present it. You're a tattoo shop. I don't want you. And that was so painful. But you were right. I was like, no, you're absolutely right. There is a fuck ton of prejudice. Doesn't matter.
Well, I think my favorite part about that whole thing is that like I was talking to Caboose about it because I was like, dude, she's just like shocked and surprised that they turned us down because we're a tattoo shop.
Yeah.
And then he said, my sweet summer child. And it was really cute because I was like, oh, you know what? She really has grown up in a world of tattooing that doesn't have that level of prejudice.
Yes.
And then I realized in that moment that I was like, oh, you've done a good job as her mentor, like keeping her in this safe space where she's not dealing with that sort of like that shitty side of tattoo shops.
100%.
Because like, I mean, we left our first shop because of the way they treated you. We
Yeah.
left our second shop because of the way they treated both of us. And now we've left our third shop together
Yeah.
because of the way they treated both of us and all women.
Period.
But yeah, and I think that that's the thing is that it did end up making me feel better to be like, you know what? That means that you've done a good job with her to not perpetuate that hate. It's essentially just that like breaking of that trauma. And even though, yes, there are some people that still exist, our current landlord, she didn't give a fuck.
Oh my God.
She
I'm
loves
obsessed
us.
with her, by the way.
We love her.
We love her so much.
She's watching us like build everything. She just tells us how much we're hard workers.
I know. Every single time we see her, she goes, you guys work so hard. And I'm like, oh my God, stop.
Mind you, this woman is at her business 7 days a week. So she is a mad hard
Also
worker.
a hard worker. Well, she is like the most perfect, like, if you could think of like, you're just a wonderful, tiny Asian
tiny.
woman who is a baller. She's a fucking hustler. That's who she is.
Yeah.
She's phenomenal.
Yeah,
We're
she's
obsessed with her.
amazing.
Obsessed with her. Yeah, she didn't give a fuck.
No.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is amazing. And so, yeah, I grew up in an environment. So thank you. I am a sweet summer child because of you guys. Thank you. Appreciate it. Because of you specifically. yeah, so we opened up a shop. That's our recap. What else? Emotionally, it's been a lot.
We've got shirts coming. She designed shirts.
Yes, we've got
because that's
shirts
kind of
coming.
where that whole thing of like, man, people are gonna like freak out over her shirts, and no one's gonna freak out over my binders. Like
I do
dilemma
love
came in.
Binder. Oh, I haven't announced this yet. I'm really hoping that you do get the recognition you deserve because we started a vlog when this all started happening.
Oh yeah.
I'll have the first episode out soonish. I would say probably in less than a week. I just need a few screen grabs of what the shop looks like right now. Once we get everything cleaned up and the wet bar done, then I should probably be able to get that content and then get that content out to you guys. And it is literally from start to finish what this entire project has been looking like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do that so that way, A, yes, you get the recognition, and B,
Thank you.
what a beautiful opportunity to share with our people. Like, this is what we've been doing. If we've been dodgy, if we'd had to cancel plans, I'm so fucking sorry. It's because we literally had a baby.
I have canceled plans with people so much.
often. Yeah.
And it sucks because like if you're one of my people,
Yeah.
it is so hard for me to hold secrets because
We
I
weren't
don't
able to tell anyone.
like to hold secrets. Like
Yeah.
I grew up as a child always having to lie and keep secrets for safety reasons. So to go back to that was really, really shitty and hard.
And painful.
So I pretty much just, it was very painful.
Yeah.
So I just avoided everyone. I was
Yeah.
just like, I'm not gonna talk to you because if I talk to you,
Yeah.
and then we actually had our friend, who we like ran into. We went to like his shop, and we had just
my
come
God.
back from lunch,
Yeah.
and we were talking about like
About our
Callie
shop.
Lou's, and we were talking, and it was so cute because we came in and he turned to us and he's like, "You guys are glowing."
It was like the pregnancy glow, like thing.
Yeah, he's like, "What's happening? Like you're
And we
both
were like-
glowing," and we're like,
I said, we just came back from sushi, so it's the sushi glow. And he goes, really? Like, did not believe it for a second, which is so
And
funny.
so I was like, we have to avoid him. We had like plans to record on his podcast. I was like, we no. Like I was like, I can't
Well-
physically be in the same room with this person
Yes.
and not tell them.
Well, that's the thing, right? I don't think we really touched in on this, but we could not tell anybody
Yeah.
about the shop until literally yesterday.
Yeah, until we
So-
were good to go.
Until we were good to go. Because again, like it is such a, I don't know, it's a dicey thing in the tattoo industry to leave any shop. And we were not trying to take any kind of risks.
No.
Which again made it super painful not telling anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, it was hard. My own family didn't know until yesterday. So, so it was a whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll talk about it more. If you guys want to hear more about
Oh, you have to do your gender.
process, yes, I will. My gender today feels like boss bitch.
Oh, nice.
That's what my gender feels like today. End statement. What does your gender feel like today?
My gender feels like this hoodie.
Yes.
Like if I was just like a big, squishy, colorful marshmallow, that is what I currently feel like, which is probably going to be a little bit hard because I need to toughen up for the day to get stuff done. But I am
Right.
full like marshmallow.
We I just now realized we look like squishmallows. We
We
literally
do
look
look like
squishmallows.
squishmallows.
Oh, and they have different patterns for each Knuff hoodie, dude.
Yeah.
Look. Wow.
I've got more pink
You've got more purple.
on my center chest.
Yeah, nice. Speaking of Knuff hoodies, brief thing about the shop. It is Barbie themed.
It is.
Fuck.
Y'all, the bathroom. I have a fucking pergola in my bathroom.
People are gonna be, what the fuck are you talking about?
So
What do you mean a pergola in the bathroom? You will see.
yes,
You guys
you will see. But basically, I'll just add a little sidebar and then we'll do our wins. Then we'll let you guys go. Oh, the way my hands look right now, I look like those tiny little midget hands. Like you know, talking
Oh,
about
the
little
small
doll
hands that you put
Yeah,
on
the way I was
your
holding it.
fingers. Yeah.
Look, it does. I am not high. I'm just very tired.
Deliriously.
Yeah, I'm just deliriously tired. But yeah, I did wallpaper because, you know, English, we love our wallpaper.
I love wallpaper too.
I think almost every room of our actual house has wallpaper in it. So in our actual home, we have the wood steamed bathroom. So you get to like look like you're going and taking a shit. And
It
apparently I have a style when it comes to interior decorating, and I didn't realize it because once again, I needed this bathroom to be outside. And when we decided Barbie, then Callie had this idea of like tiki, and I was like, tiki, no, I hate tiki.
We're getting close. But
And
no.
and then it hit me, and I was like, oh my God, you are so right. That is the correct theme. It is beach.
Yeah.
Because as we all know, Ken's job is beach,
Not lifeguard.
not lifeguard. Common
Beach.
misconception, but beach.
Yeah, because if we have a Barbie themed shop, we had to have something for Ken, so it only made sense that the bathroom was beach.
Yes.
For Ken.
And then when I put the wallpaper up, you can see the seams because it's a scene. So you're on a beach. So basically, if you pee there,
So instead of shitting in the woods,
you're shitting in the beach.
exactly.
And there's seams. So then I was like, fuck, I need to like figure out a solution for that. So I was on the phone with like our friend Cole, and then I left that night. And a lot of times I'll just walk away from a project and leave it till the next morning, because by the next morning I've like come up with a solution, which also makes building stuff a little bit difficult, because then we will all be like working on something at the shop, and I'm like, okay, we're done for tonight. And then I just have to stop because I'm like, I need time to like sleep, and then I'll come up and just be like, oh, this is a solution. So I said, well, we can just put beams there. I was like, but then if we build it like a pergola, it also has a really tall ceiling that like gets kind of weird, and the wallpaper doesn't get all the way to the ceiling. So that solved both of those. But now that means that when you walk into our bathroom, not only are you on the beach, but you are under a pergola, because my amazing husband just trusted me and was like, yep, fuck it, we'll do it. She trusted me. So now we have a pergola. And then we have a heart-shaped mirror, and I'm so excited because it means that if you ever do use the bathroom in our place, you're going to be like, what the fuck? Y'all are so extra.
Well, not
and I
just
am,
that.
and I will take it.
We're supposed to be playing Ocean.
Oh, yeah, we installed that was the discussion of Fart Fan that you guys heard was for the business.
If you've been listening to our previous episodes, yeah, we talked about the fucking Fart Fan.
Yep, and it plays, and then we'll play beach stuff. We've got TV in the shop. We won't play the sound just because that'll be really distracting for me. But like we've got a TV, so that way we can play the episodes of us building the shop, and we can also play Barbie and just movies and just like make it a comfy, cozy space.
I hope you guys are ready for the vlog. It is fucking chaos. It is absolute. Like I hope this is just a peek into my editing brain, and this is really vulnerable because it's gonna show you how fucking weird it is in there.
I love it.
Thank you.
I love it.
Okay.
If you like my artwork or my sense of humor, you guys are gonna be like, this is dope.
Yeah.
You will understand this connection that we share.
Yes.
That like underneath it all, our weirdness like links up perfectly.
It does. Like Bluetooth.
Yeah.
For
Like
sure.
Bluetooth. We
Oh,
have Bluetooth weirdness.
speaking of, we did get a complaint about not doing our wins lately.
Yes. So we will end this episode on a win. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
What is your win for the week? And you can't be quitting your job, boo.
It can't be starting a shop either.
No.
I think my win for the week is letting myself process those feelings about being like the I hate saying the weakest member, the most inexperienced member on the team. as
Only
far
with
as
that
goes.
stuff, because then like social media, you've done everything.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
So I
it.
think it's experiencing that, but also appreciating the fact that like maybe the building stuff you're like not as experienced at.
You know what I realized?
But you come in on all of my weaknesses.
It was very healing. But yeah, our strength, we just have different strengths and different weaknesses. It was one of those things where like I realized that we're just playing different sports.
Yeah.
And although I'll play game for sure, like no one loves me any less for not being the best at like soccer or whatever.
Yeah.
No one loves me anymore for having more experience with social media. You know what I mean?
I mean, I love you more
I love you more.
for having experience with social media.
I also love you more
because
for having
I came home and took a fucking edible, and I was like, you got me for 45 minutes before I'm just hooting and hollering around this house.
So that's
And she's
okay.
over there doing the website, doing social media. And I was like, I'm so sorry that I can't help you.
Don't be sorry.
But
it's different strengths again. Remember,
And that's the thing is that I'm like, I put in my work a couple weeks ago. You're putting in your work now, and it all equals out.
and it all equals out, and it's beautiful. So yeah, it's letting myself process, coaching myself through it, and then coming out the other side feeling better than ever.
That's
my win.
amazing.
How about your win?
Fuck my win. I was paying attention to yours and wasn't paying attention to mine.
You were thinking.
I think I would.
hair on your nose chain. Can I grab it?
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I would say my win is it's gonna be telling people like
Oh yeah.
because I had a really hard time figuring out the post.
Yes.
I stole your picture for the post
No, you
because I
didn't.
was like, I don't know what to say because I am like an all or nothing individual.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hard for me to not just be like, this is exactly why we left you guys. And then be like diplomatic about that because we don't want to get sued.
Yeah.
And
Which in all reality, it's just so hard because like being sued for telling the truth is classic, right?
exactly. So that's why we can't. So it's like nice for me to be able to have conversations with people and be like, hey, I'm going to censor what I say. So I'm not like going to have any sort of like problems.
Yeah.
But also to be able to like tell people, like it felt good to be able to tell the other artists to be like, hey, like I really liked working with you, you know, like I am sorry that I'm leaving you like in the lurch, but like good luck. And so just being able to like express that and then it's probably honestly just that recognition of like everyone coming and being like, wow, dude, you put in so much fucking work. Like, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm like, dude, that's amazing. Like that felt really good for me to like sit into that and be like, oh, so people did notice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's nice. The people that, you know, I won't say the people that mattered. The people that paid me didn't notice. But like the people that mattered are the ones that said, hey, I appreciate you.
100%.
Like, and I think that was really cool to like sit in that feeling of like, wow, thanks for noticing, you guys.
Absolutely. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. You know, our life
It's been
moves
a
fast.
lot.
And it's such a joke between me and my therapist because I'm like, yeah, my life moves like fast
Mhm.
and it moves quickly. And when I say that I'm busy, people never fucking believe me.
Yeah.
But
Our therapy session got pushed back, and I realized because it's on Tuesday now that I was like, oh, when we go see her on Tuesday, I will have seen her twice from the time that I was like, I have to quit my job. Like, it's toxic.
Yeah.
It's scary.
and
it's
now
not
I
safe.
have my own shop.
And then I'm like, now it is like a month later, and I'm like, we have our business. Yeah, we're open. Like, we're good
Fuck
to go.
yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
What a fucking win.
Yep.
Thank you for doing this with me.
Thank you for doing this with me.
I appreciate it. Okay, you guys. Finger hugs. We'll see you later.
Bye.
See ya.
Oh, it's a long one.